Hi guys, welcome to the podcast by RF Paving. This week we are going to talk about different design trends, what we think is happening at the moment, and future trends. So, what do you think, Andy Mill?
What people are actually wanting is it shifts from time to time on whatever that might be, whether it be different colours, tones, different formats of paving, different actual types of paving, the areas that they're wanting and things that they're wanting to achieve. All of that changes on a regular basis.
I think now as well, though, because everything's so driven through Pinterest, social media, it's completely different now because you've got so much access to different projects everywhere, like across all the different platforms. That, for me, is what's driving what people think is the current trend, because there's a lot of people that can't visualise the garden.
Absolutely.
Me being one of them. So it's really difficult to see it in your own garden. So I think a lot of people go to Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram to get that inspiration.
You look at our socials. You know, we've got thousands of different images, things that our customers have sent to us, and I think if we analyse that over the years that people have done, we will see a massive change in what was relevant 5 years ago to becoming relevant now, and even changing from last season to this season as such. So I think like you say, the internet and everything that comes with that
drives the trends.
It does drive the trends, but it's also a fantastic tool for people to use as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how did people come up with ideas before?
I'm not really sure. Well, I can tell you because I'm old, you see, so I can tell you. Yeah, we used to just look at magazines, Amy. Remember them things?
It's like what I was saying the other day about Google Maps. If you didn't have Google Map anymore, you actually had to sit there with a map.
Doing it,
you won't get anywhere.
No, I remember doing it. That's what. To be fair, that's why you don't know where Brighton is as opposed to.
That's very true. That's very true. I had the same conversation this morning with Helen about Sutton in Coldfield. Is not Sutton in Ashfield.
no, slightly different, but never mind. But anyway.
So let's start with colours. So colour-wise,
place to start. To be fair,
paving colours. Let's start with paving colours.
Well, I think paving colours and colours in general within the house, I think people will probably have seen this as a bit of a shift, like you say, from social media. I'm not saying grey is totally out, but we are seeing...
There's definitely still a place for grey, isn't there?
Absolutely, yeah, without a doubt. It's more of a tone type of thing for me, because even within greys you can have bluer tones, you can have browner tones, you can have sort of like more neutral.
Yeah, there's
sort of like
such
tones.
an array, isn't there, of different.
And even within one colour, that sounds bizarre, but there's different colours within the colour. But we are seeing very much a trend towards the warmer colours, the beiges, ivory.
You love Misty, you love a beige. This is Andy's time to shine.
I told you not changing my tiles in my house for 10 years and come back in, but yes, I love a beige. But it definitely is.
I agree. I think lighter tones, but also like the earthy tones. So one thing I've noticed, especially with tiles, is that people still like the grey tones, but much lighter, that's got like a warm undertone, a browny undertone. I think the deep greys.
Yeah. With the blues in there.
With the really deep blues.
Absolutely,
I think that, I'm not saying they're out, but it's definitely seeing a shift to the light, beige, bright, Mediterranean.
Totally.
Earthy,
I was just about to say that, Mediterranean
woody kind
look.
of. Yeah, I think that's definitely what is up and coming if it's not here already.
Yeah, absolutely. And from this, as a paving colour, the more hard to keep clean colours, unfortunately, because we live in the UK, and it is a case
of white paving. Fair
enough point, so yes, it's one of those. Yes, we've got the Mediterranean look. We've got the sort of. You look at we'll probably go on to materials in a bit, but the Sinai Pearl limestone type of thing. It's such a nice
tone,
and it's got the beiges in there, beautiful. But again, it's going to take some more maintaining than it will do in Egypt where it's from.
See, I slightly disagree in that I know you love beige and you are very beige, but I think that it's not just kind of the beigey colours. It's, even if it's like white with the brown adding in, I think it's very much just lighter. I don't know, there's definitely a shift towards the lighter, brighter, open rooms. And I think when it comes to sizing, especially for paving, so when we first started, it was very much, so we started off with stone, it were very much project packs, mixed sizes. For anyone that doesn't know what they are, the 4 size packs. So when you look at stone, you can see 4 different sizes and it creates pattern. That was a massive, massive thing 10 years ago. And even though there's definitely still a place for that now, I am seeing a huge shift towards the larger format tiles.
Totally, yeah.
With porcelain, definitely, well, both porcelain and stone, the large format tiles open your space up quite a lot from a design point of view.
They do, and people, this is going to sound a little bit stupid, but actually a small space, if you use a large format tile in that small space, it opens it up.
Yeah.
Whereas people have the opposite concept to it. Oh, it's a small space, I need to use a smaller tile.
Yeah.
It's the reverse, to be quite honest.
It is, and I think we said about social media and everything, but I also think a lot of these trend changes start with a designer as well, because that is the first point of a garden. They are obviously completely qualified and brilliant at what they do. So when they look at a space, they can see it in from a completely different point of view. And I've definitely noticed with the designers that I speak to that they all say the same thing about, if you are wanting to open a space up, larger formats open it up more, whereas using smaller sizes, especially if you've got a big space that you want to make separate zones in your garden, I think the smaller sizes work really well for that, because it creates the zones.
Absolutely. And I think, like you've said there, depending on what you're trying to achieve, depending if you're lucky enough to have a designer that can sort of like pull all these things together, and I think people who might self-design themselves,
which is loads of people,
absolutely,
and some people do fantastic jobs
if we could pass these little sort of like nuggets on to those to sort of like, give us a shout, what do you think about this or that, and whatever, and we'll point you in the right directions to things, because people's gardens now, and I suppose this is a trend as well, which has become it's become probably since COVID, when we're at that time at home, everybody decided, right,
just a little bit of time.
let's do the garden, and from that, to be quite honest, the garden has become probably part of the home now, rather than two separate things.
The way that people look at the garden now, isn't it?
So that in itself is a trend of you got the bringing the inside to outside and connecting the home and garden.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that is something again that has changed from what was, it's windy, rainy outside.
You had your house and you had your garden.
Yeah, absolutely. Now there's all sorts of different things. There's the outdoor structures that you're getting, which getting better and better as you come. You can literally have an outdoor structure which, they use the word pergola, which can be, is it pergola? Yes, pergola.
Yeah, pergola,
that can literally be almost an extension of your house, and use 12
it is an
12
extension,
months a year.
Isn't it? And it's like, instead of being, to be honest, it's probably cheaper
absolutely
to do than an extension, but also, as we know, it's not a permanent structure, so
exactly.
In terms of like planning and everything like that, people are favouring it more, because it's not something that's permanent. They can change it.
Outdoor living, isn't it? You know what I mean? That's what people are sort of like doing, and that as a trend has changed. But also, again, connecting the home to the garden via paving, via tiles. We do a range, an inside out range, which you can have the same tile that matches going from through your bifold doors or your sliding doors, whatever you got, into the garden, whether that be into an outdoor structure. It is all just creating that continuity, that cohesive look from outside to in.
One thing I've noticed is that I think before, people, especially when doing like house renovations, they used to think about the house and then think about the garden as an
Yeah,
afterthought.
yeah.
Whereas one thing that I want to stress is that when you're actually doing your house, like whether you're building it, whether you're renovating one room, if it's something that eventually you're going to do the garden, it needs to be a combined thought.
Definitely.
Because even if you're not connecting the same tiles inside to out, there still has to be some form of connection, because it's all of it is your living space.
Totally.
So,
Well, this is so much of a conversation that I've had so many times over the last weekend. I've just been to a trade show and spoke to lots of homeowners and people doing renovations. It's the house building and renovation show, and it's absolutely become something that people have walked away thanking us for, to be quite honest, that type of thing, because, you know, they've come there wanting air source heat pumps, whatever else they're looking at, you know, all of the different things that what they see as and have looked at us, and we've given them information about, do you know what, we've not really thought about the garden until you've sort of like seen this, and how we need to consider our garden space if we're wanting this cohesive look, because the type of paving that we're going to have is going to be determined by the tile colour, which then determines the kitchen colour. And
it ties. How many times have we had when someone comes in and they're coming to pick their patio tiles, and they're like, I've just done the inside, or we should have known that. And I think that's one thing for me, especially why we want to do this podcast, is that sometimes it's hard to get the information, you know, the truth. When you're trying to, especially when you're doing a home renovation, when you're trying to look for information on the internet, or there's not that connection, like human connection, as much anymore. So I think that by doing trade shows and by us starting a podcast, we're really trying to build that connection and that trust that what we say is what we mean.
Try to engage, you know, we're trying to see what we're trying to pass on to people, what we're seeing in the industry,
and have human connection via it, though, because if not, you're kind of on your own with it, pulling out information.
Absolutely, And if we're fortunate enough that people listen to us, you know, we'll tell the truth. We won't just sort of like say, "Oh, this is what you should buy because of that," because we've got it in stock. It's not. No. It's not what we're about. This podcast is about, you know, we might get some information back from, you know, comments on this where we think, do you know what, they're right, we should be stocking that type of thing. We should be able to give people what they want. But it's a two-way thing that we're trying to create within a paving industry, which is quite traditional. Used to be. Look through that magazine type of thing, look through that brochure. The brochure now is pretty much their website, socials.
Yeah, definitely. It's just the shift. There's been such a big shift in it, but it's important to us, isn't it, this podcast? Because I think it's important to build that human connection and actually have someone that you can listen to and rely on. And if we don't know, we don't know. So
we'll tell you that. Yeah,
we'll come back.
We will find out. But
we'll find out. And we're lucky enough to have. We've got such amazing designers, landscapers, builders, so many different people that we work with that are all experts in their area. We're hoping that this podcast brings it all together and is one space that you guys can come on and just get the truth, get some information, and hopefully get some inspiration from it.
Definitely inspiration, that's the thing. And for us, like I say, inspiration for us as a company to be able to provide the next thing that next trend that we think people will be. And, you know, by us connecting with the people that we do, we hope that we can bring those trends before they happen to the likes of you guys. So, yeah.
Perfect.